It's been a most extraordinary day in South Africa today at the FNB Stadium here for the memorial service of Nelson Mandela.
The world was literally in South Africa today, and from world leaders, heads of state and government, prime ministers, their representatives, celebrities, dignitaries, over 100 in number. Everyone turned their eyes to South Africa. Journalists from all over the world came here to cover this sad but historic event of our time.
Absolutely, and Jackie, let's not forget the weather. I mean, it was raining most of the day, but that didn't really stop people from flocking the stadium at the FNB Stadium here. People turned out in large numbers. The mood was largely upbeat, a lot of singing, a lot of dancing, and this is essentially a very South African signature way of celebrating the life of a great icon like Nelson Mandela. And so really for South Africans to have come together in this way and the world to have come together in this way was one of them paying tribute to Nelson Mandela. His family members were also here. Many of them turned out, his grandchildren, some of them paid tribute to their grandfather. There was some somber moments, of course, when some heads of state made some very powerful speeches reminding the world why Nelson Mandela's long walk to freedom wasn't for nothing in order for South Africa to enjoy the rainbow nation that they do. And Jackie, no doubt, the fact that the world was here, literally, most of the world leaders were in South Africa today.
And it was a bit difficult for us as journalists to be able to get a glimpse of every single president that attended this memorial service here today. But notably, President Barack Obama was here, of course, First Lady Michelle Obama, Bill Clinton and his wife Hillary Clinton, of course, George Bush was here, Jimmy Carter and his wife was here. That is just from the United States. We had, of course, leaders from Britain. We had our very own President Uhuru Kenyatta, First Lady Margaret, and even their son Jomo was here. We had the likes of Raul Castro from Cuba. And so therefore, it was just an amazing show of support, show of togetherness, and really these are the lessons that should be taken from here. Every leader who stood up to speak, reiterated that same message, that what Mandela fought for and his long walk for freedom was not in vain and it was not for nothing. So friend or foe, political nemesis, or those who share the same ideals were represented here. They shared a platform. And therefore, this is really what Madiba was all about. This is what he struggled to achieve, of course, politically speaking. So therefore, bringing people together, white, black, colored, it really didn't matter. They all came out. They all came from across the country, Australia, Canada, the United States, and even here in Africa, just to celebrate the life of Nelson Mandela. These are the lessons that I believe, Janet, they will be picking from here today.
Absolutely. I think everyone is honoring him in their own way.
I think, for us, he represents a whole new face of Africa. He represents the battle against prejudice, and he also represents somebody who actually loved the UK, just as we loved him.
President Jacob Zuma, that was interesting as well to note, perhaps the fact that there was a little bit of drama surrounding his speaking, just a little bit of, even Cyril Ramaphosa, who was the MC, sometimes had to remind the crowd to respect the leaders when they're talking, to be quiet, a lot of singing and dancing, and he said, fair enough, you can sing and dance all you want, but please respect the leaders coming onto the stage here, allow them to share their thoughts and their memories in a respectful manner.
Quite disturbing, if I may say, for those who were seated here. The fact that world leaders are represented here, and this is Jacob Zuma's home turf, and the reaction, the unrest from the people was a very telling message, and so it was a bit worrying and disturbing for those who were here today. The tens of thousands of South Africans that were across the stadium, Janet. Initially, we did not expect the stadium to be filled. 95,000 capacity, and at the end of the day, this stadium was almost filled to capacity.
Drained or not. So that was the day. It was great to be part of this historic moment. I must say, a lot of journalists that we spoke to were saying the same thing. To be able to be here and cover this event was nothing short of humbling.
It feels like, in a way, a huge episode of my life coming full circle as a journalist. You know, for me to have covered those years in South Africa, those historic years, was undoubtedly the highlight of my journalistic career.
So really, all in all, a great historic day here in South Africa. I'm Janet Mbogwa.
And I'm Jacque Maribe from the FNB Stadium in Johannesburg, South Africa.
It is no longer with us.